Welcome guys to the first draft summary of ABL VGC. Hosting these draft summaries, my name is TJ. My channel is in the iCard in the top right. Okay, let's get into things. Today we are going over Coach Nathan's team. He coaches the Groningen Slowkings. Starting in on the team here, we have the Mega Kangaskhan. What else do we have to say about the Mega Kangaskhan? It's a Mega Kangaskhan. This thing ruled the VGC world for like all of 6th generation. It has a lot of things available. It hits very hard, has a decent amount of coverage, even without move tutors, which we most likely will get in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, so that'll only widen this thing's move pool. Power Punch is very scary. Luckily, I don't think it is available. Actually, we are playing in Battle Spot doubles mode, so I think it is legal as long as it's from the 6th generation or higher. So Power Punch will be available along with the elemental punches. Really scary power punches, and even without it, Mega Kangaskhan does a lot of things like hitting really hard. With stab returns, they do a lot. Even double edges, they do even more. Besides that, and its amazing coverage and amazing physical abilities, it's a very good start to Nathan's team. Next up we have the Conkeldurr. Very interesting to see as a 2nd round pick, but it hits very hard. With Guts, its damage get boosts even higher, which is just even scarier. It's a pure fighting type, so yeah, I'm not quite sure how it will fare in the world of VGC, but considering Nathan picked it 2nd round, he has to have some sort of strategy behind it. Next up, we have Pelipper, his 3rd pick, bringing rain to this team. So, to pair with this rain, he has the Seismitoad and Quillfish, so more on that later. Pelipper was buffed in the 7th generation with 100% accurate hurricanes. It has tailwind support. Hits very hard with hydro pumps in the rain, and stuff along that lines. It can support many of his mons, either providing tailwind or the rain for a swift swim, thunder, hurricane, you name it. Next up we have the Seismitoad. It is a swift swim sweeper, and it can eat hits as well. This frog, which is more viable than a Quagsire, gets access to water stabs and ground stabs, and a lot of other coverage I don't really know about. I'm not quite sure what he was thinking as making this a swift swim sweeper when Kingdra was still available at this time, but I'm pretty sure he can make Seismitoad work. Kinda weird that he chose it as his 4th pick, but hey, I'm not gonna judge. Next up, we have the Dragonite. Dragonite, I'm not quite sure how it will fare in doubles, but in singles, it is a monster, being able to get a free Dragon Dance, basically. Unless you can still get KO'd with the multi-scale. Dragonite can also provide a decent amount of support to the team, like Tailwind again, Thunder Waving threats, and more stuff along those lines. And with a 130-ish attack, probably 134 or something, it can hit hard with E-speeds, outrages, and it's not a Z user, so he can't quite use Z fly effectively. He'll have to run the normal fly or the aerial ace. That's pretty much the Dragonite. If he really wanted to, he can run a Hurricane Thunder set, Hurricane Thunder Hydro Pump special set alongside the Pelipper. That could definitely be very interesting. we'll see how Nathan decides to use this Dragonite in the future games. Next up, we have the Mimikyu. Oh boy. Now with the Focus Sash, this thing can basically take 2 hits, so both of your opponent's hits soaked by this Mimikyu. That basically means if he really wanted to, he obviously can get up a free Swords Dance, but more importantly, he has the availability to get a free Trick Room up, which can help out the Escavalier, the Conkeldurr especially, the Reuniclus, and the Aurorus, just to name a few. And a Swords Dance Sweeper, oh boy, it puts in a lot of damage. Even a +2 Shadow Claw, despite its like only 90 attack, it hits a lot of things hard, and with the boosted critical hit ratio, it can definitely pick up a lot of KOs. And Mimikyu gets a lot of other coverage too, like Fairy Stab, Ghost Stab, which is unresisted, I'm pretty sure. So you really only need either Shadow Sneak or Shadow Claw and play rough, but it also has coverage like, say, a Wood Hammer, or a, I'm not quite sure what else it gets besides Wood Hammer. And Mimikyu, it also has the basic ghost support with Will-O-Wisp, Toxic obviously, and Pain Split, Curse, stuff like that. Moving along to the next Pokemon, he has one that I was looking to draft myself, an Alolan Persian. With the fur coat, it gets really bulky, surprisingly, and like physically bulky, and it gets a lot of tools like Parting Shot, Snarl, Fake Out. Yeah. And it can also beat a Nasty Plot Sweeper with Technician, Snarl, or Technician Hidden Power. Yeah, Technician Hidden Power can definitely be a niche in doubles in Draft League. Moving along for the Persian, we have the Raichu. Raichu is another Fake Out user. It has Lightning Rod to support the Quillfish and the Pelipper. But one main aspect of the downside of running Lightning Rod is this is Draft League. An opponent can easily run Discharge coverage. I mean, Raichu gets a special attack boost from it, which maybe could work with an Aurorus Discharge. I bet you didn't know Aurorus got that. Yeah, Aurorus gets Discharge. Didn't know that until recently. So Aurorus Raichu combo with Discharge could be a funny thing to see, but it's mainly going to be used as a Fake Out user, dishing out electric type stab, and it gets coverage like Grass Knot, stuff like that. And really, Raichu, it has some supportive tools, but not a lot. It's kind of out of their pick, like, I don't know, not much else to be said about the Raichu. Next up, we have a Escavalier. Escavalier is a Bug Steel type, only weak to fire, which the rain helps out with that. It is very slow, which means it can benefit from a Reuniclus or Mimikyu Trick Room, and it can hit really hard with Mega Horn, or even Iron Head deals out a ton of damage. I think it's about 135 attack. It just hits for crazy damage. And I don't know much about what this thing can do in doubles, but I don't know. Moving along here, Quillfish, an Intimidate user, but also a Swift Swimmer. It's kind of a dilemma here, like, will you run Swift Swim or will you run the Intimidate support? Now, Quillfish, it gets some supportive tools, like, for example, Toxic Spikes. Spikes probably won't work too well in doubles, and Destiny Bond. Destiny Bond could be quite interesting. Besides that, it can Swords Dance up and be a Swift Swim Sweeper, if it gets Sword Stance, which I'm pretty sure it does. Quillfish, definitely a good pick with the rain. I mean, I think Kingdra is still available at this point, but I guess he just wasn't thinking about that. Reuniclus is up next, and this thing is bulky with Regenerator and has the ability to be a Trick Room setter. Has a lot of coverage that most Psychic types get, and not much versatility besides that. I think it might get Thunderwave or Will-O-Wisp. I'm pretty sure it doesn't get Will-O-Wisp. But with a 125 special attack, it will hit hard if invested. Even uninvested can hit pretty hard. This thing will probably be run for Trick Room, for the Quillfish, what am I saying, Quillfish? The Escavalier, the Conkeldurr, and the Aurorus. Last but not least, we have the Aurorus, which really, I don't really think fits on this team. At least in my opinion. Just cause, like, it's a Snow setter with no Aurora Veil next to a Rain setter. But, I mean, it also gets the Refrigerate, so it can hit really hard with Stab normal type moves, which get the 1.2 times boost from the Refrigerate. It has a ton of weaknesses, and besides being somewhat bulky, it will die to a lot. That is Nathan's team here, and if I were to rate it, I would give it number 4. So it would be the 4th best team. Reason for it being is he has a lot of threats on this team. Mega Kangaskhan, Dragonite, Conkeldurr, Escavalier, Mimikyu, the list goes on. But the main weakness here is other people running Intimidate against him. Since most of his mons are physical, they suffer against, well, most of them suffer against physical walls, Will-O-Wisp, Intimidate, stuff like that. And the fact that a lot of his mons are suffer from this is not good at all, including all of his Swift Swim sweepers. So you get yourself a, this thing is gonna get walled by Bulky Waters. So Bulky Waters will just wall out his Rain Core and just dish out Scald's back. Except, I think Seismitoad gets Water Absorb maybe? I don't know. Either way, his team has a lot of threats, but suffers from weaknesses in type diversity and Intimidate. He doesn't have a Fairy type or a Fire type on his team. Maybe we'll see him make a few free agent trades in the season. Anyways guys, this will conclude our first draft summary out of the 8. The next one going up will be of the Colorado Agrons and Dingus. Dingus. I can't never pronounce that, man. If you want to support me, go ahead, follow the iCard, go to my channel. If you want to support the ABL in general, you can follow their Twitter at ABLReal. And then the doc, if you want to catch up with this draft league, since it is kind of special, a doubles league, which you really don't see often, the doc link is in the description below. Unless I don't link it, and you can yell at me in the comments. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like, drop a subscribe button. Okay, yeah, I'm not good at this at all. See you guys later. Peace.